The Glock 26X has just arrived, and truthfully, everyone's scratching their heads, myself included. Sitting on what appears to be a Glock 19 frame is a Glock 26 slide, creating a configuration we don't usually expect. It's as if Glock took the entire 19X concept and flipped it completely. Long grip, short slide. The exact opposite of what we typically see. Here's what's really interesting though. Glock just discontinued almost 100 models. Patents are leaking everywhere. People are whispering about modular frames and Gen 6 stuff. So is this 26X telling us something? Maybe it's a hint about what's coming next. Or maybe it's just Glock rearranging the furniture again while we wait for the real show. If you've been holding out for Gen 6, this conversation might change your whole timeline. Because things are getting weird in Glock land, and the 26X might be the first sign of what's really happening behind the scenes. Disclaimer: everything I'm about to tell you comes from distributors, catalogs, and industry trends. None of this is confirmed by Glock, unless I say so. Think of this as informed commentary, not official specs. I'm connecting dots that might not even be connected. What actually is this thing? First off, Glock didn't even make the 26X. That's right. This whole thing comes from Glock Store working with Grit Grips. Dustin Sroof gets the credit for actually designing it. The whole project started as a community joke. People were calling it the Nicki Minaj Glock. Small weapon, big butt. You know, short slide with a long grip. Well, Glock Store decided to make the meme real. What you get is a Glock 26 slide and a barrel stuck onto a Glock 19 length frame. The gun ends up about 6.5 inches long, same as a regular G26. But when you put a magazine in, it's as tall as a G19. Think of it like the reverse 43X situation. Instead of a long slide on a short frame, you get a short slide on a long frame. It's basically a Glock 26 that never skipped leg day. The frame itself is polymer with this asphalt grip texture. Got a flared magwell, double trigger guard undercuts. And here's the kicker. It finally puts a rail on a subcompact setup. Regular Glock 26s never had rails. That's frustrated carry shooters for years. Capacity-wise, you're looking at 15+1 with regular Glock 19 magazines sitting flush. You can run 17-round G17 mags if you want. Even those crazy 33-round fun sticks work. But here's the catch. 10-round G26 magazines won't work. The magwell is too long, so shorter mags can't lock up right. The frame comes with Gen 5 ambidextrous controls already installed. Magazine release and slide stop lever, both sides. This means you can mix and match Gen 3, Gen 4, or Gen 5 slides on top. Glock Store confirmed in their Reddit Q&A that besides needing a G26-sized locking block, you can swap trigger groups and slides across generations. Pretty easy. Why release this now? Well, technically, Glock didn't release it. Glock Store did. But the timing's interesting. Glock moves slow on purpose. They're not exactly known for rapid innovation. When they do introduce new stuff, it's usually through these X models that stretch existing platforms. The 19X, the 45, even that G47 for Border Patrol. These are all ways to squeeze more life out of proven designs. The 26X fills a gap that Glock themselves haven't touched. People have been DIYing similar setups for years using grip sleeves and extended magazines. Glock Store saw the demand and made a real solution. But why now, specifically? I think it's partly market pressure and partly timing. The high-capacity micro-compact market is exploding right now. SIG's P365 variants are eating everyone's lunch. Shadow Systems is making Glock-style pistols with features that Glock won't add from the factory. Glock Store is doing what the aftermarket does best, filling gaps that the OEM won't touch. They're giving Glock fans a way to get modern capacity and features without abandoning the platform. There's another possibility though. This could be Glock's way of testing market reaction to weird configurations before committing to factory production. If the 26X concept proves popular, don't be surprised if you see something similar in an official Glock catalog later. Are you enjoying this update? If you do, please consider liking this video and subscribing to our channel. This helps us grow and spread this knowledge with more people like you. Now, let's get back to the video. How this affects Gen 6 timeline. Here's where it gets really interesting. The 26X might actually preview what's coming with Gen 6. Based on patent leaks and insider info, Gen 6 is likely to include modular frames, no trigger takedown, drop-in trigger groups, and direct-milled optic systems. We're talking about the biggest design change in Glock's history here. The modular frame patent shows Glock finally exploring a fire control unit style system, something SIG has been crushing with the P320. The frame splits into upper and lower sections. Upper contains the slide rails and magazine well. Lower is the grip portion that can be swapped out. Think about it. If Gen 6 brings real modularity, you could have one serialized upper unit and multiple grip configurations. Want a full-size grip for duty work? Swap it on. Need a compact grip for concealed carry? Done deal. The 26X concept, short slide, long grip, would just be one configuration in an endless mix and match system. Could the 26X be Glock's way of clearing parts before a major refresh? Possibly. When companies start clearing inventory and discontinuing massive numbers of SKUs, it usually means big changes are coming. Timeline rumors pointed to potential announcements at the NRA annual meeting or SHOT Show. We didn't see Gen 6 officially unveiled, but industry chatter suggests we're getting close. Some insiders are pointing to SHOT Show 2026 as their likely reveal moment. But here's the thing about Glock. They move at their own pace. They introduced Gen 4 in 2010, Gen 5 in 2017. If they stick to that roughly decade-long cycle, Gen 6 could still be a year or two out. The 26X might be filling time while the factory perfects whatever's coming next. Who this is actually for? Let's be real about this. The 26X isn't for everyone. It's great for shooters who love the snappy recoil of the 26 slide, but want a better grip than the standard pinky-dangling subcompact experience. If you've ever shot a Glock 26 and wish you could get all your fingers on the gun without an extension, this addresses that. It's also perfect for concealed carriers who don't want the longer 19 slide printing under their shirt, but still want serious capacity on top. Some people find shorter slides more comfortable for appendix carry, less length digging into your leg when you sit down. And let's not forget the Glock collectors and enthusiasts who just want rare configurations. There's definitely a segment that buys guns simply because they're different or limited. Here's the thing though, if you already run a Glock 19 or 26 Gen 5 and you're happy with it, the 26X may not add much to your life. But if you've got G43X envy but G26 loyalty, this might hit that sweet spot. The Rail Edition alone has people excited. Finally, a subcompact Glock configuration that can mount a weapon light without aftermarket modifications. For carry-focused shooters who've been waiting for that capability, the 26 delivers. What the 26X isn't. Let's manage expectations here. The 26X is not a Gen 6 preview. It's not factory optics ready unless you choose an optics ready slide. it doesn't introduce new internals or frame geometry beyond the extended grip. It's likely not going to be a permanent SKU in anyone's catalog. This smells like a limited run, possibly distributor exclusive situation. Glock Store has a history of boutique releases that generate buzz but don't stick around forever. The 26X also doesn't solve some fundamental physics problems. You're still dealing with a shorter sight radius than a G19. You're still giving up some velocity and accuracy potential that comes with a longer barrel. And let's be honest about concealment. The frame is the hardest part of any gun to hide. If you can conceal a 26X grip, you can probably conceal a G19 grip. So you're making a compromise that may not actually improve your concealment profile. It's cool, but don't sell your Glock 19 just yet. What Glock needs to get right with Gen 6. If Gen 6 is really coming, Glock has some serious catching up to do. Real modularity is table stakes now. SIG proved that shooters want the ability to change configurations without buying entirely new guns. A proper fire control unit system would let Glock offer caliber conversions, size changes, and feature upgrades in ways they never could before. Smarter takedown is overdue too. Every time someone has a negligent discharge during Glock disassembly, it reinforces the perception that other brands are safer to work on. The patent suggests Glock has solved this. Let's hope they implement it. Factory optics cuts need to be standard, not optional. The MOS system was a step in the right direction, but it's clunky compared to direct milled solutions. The Aimpoint collaboration hints at where this is leading. Better texture and grip angle options are essential. The aftermarket exists because Glock's one-size-fits-all approach doesn't actually fit everyone. Modular grips could finally let Glock address different hand sizes and preferences officially. Integrated light-ready options, especially for subcompacts, would be huge. The fact that Glock Store had to engineer a rail into the 26X frame shows there's demand Glock isn't meeting. The world's changed. Glock's reliability is still top tier, but shooters expect more now, and Gen 6 needs to answer that. My take on all this. The Glock 26 is a clever crossover, but it's not the future. It's a remix of the past. It shows that there's still innovation happening in the Glock ecosystem, even if it's not coming from Glock themselves. Glock Store saw a gap and filled it. They gave subcompact Glock fans a rail, better capacity, and a different shooting dynamic. But ultimately, the 26X feels like a stopgap. It's addressing specific complaints about current Glock offerings while we wait for something bigger to arrive. If Gen 6 is coming, it better be more than just swapping frames and slides. It needs to be a genuine leap forward that acknowledges where the handgun market has gone. Shooters are watching, and they've got options now. The discontinuation of nearly 100 Glock models, the patent leaks, the insider hints, it all points to something significant in development. Whether that something lives up to the hype remains to be seen. So, would you pick up a Glock 26X, or are you holding out for Gen 6? Personally, I'm fascinated by the concept, but skeptical about the execution. The idea of a rail-equipped subcompact with full capacity is appealing. However, building a firearm from a stripped frame, working through compatibility issues, and spending top dollar on what is essentially just a parts kit? That's a much harder sell. If you're the type who loves tinkering with Glocks and wants something unique, the 26X might be worth the gamble. If you just want a reliable carry gun that works out of the box, stick with proven options until we see what Gen 6 brings. The next year or two in Glockland are going to be very interesting. The 26X might end up being a footnote, or it might be the beginning of a whole new category of configurations. Either way, it's got people talking, and that's probably exactly what Glock Store wanted. Hit like and subscribe to All About Survival if you don't want to miss any upcoming update like this. I will see you in the next one.